Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, your moderator, and this program is about living in the now, which is the only moment that is available to us, and also about all the things in life that happens that we use them as lessons to see how that things can improve. And sometimes I'm giving my suggestions and it may come across as a directive, but I need you to know that my intention is just for a suggestion. I'm going to pull up the screen here. I have a PowerPoint for us to look at, and I think that's the PowerPoint. Share. Admit. Come on in, dear friends. You're always welcome. Today's topic is reinforcing boundaries. And so we can set boundaries and we can be faithful to them, but life is constantly changing every day. Things just change from the weather to the temperaments to everything. And because with life being what life is, it's ever changing, and therefore our boundaries can easily become clouded, or we can begin to, wane away from them. So today we'll look at seeing afresh while being true to ourselves. And so here is, let me go ahead and expand this all the way out so you can see the whole thing. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is our survival need and our psychological needs. According to Dr. William Glasser, psychiatrist, we have 5 basic needs that is applicable to everyone. And the survival need, of course, is just to keep on living, keep on breathing, keep on being here so that we can interact with others. But then we also have some psychological needs. And those psychological needs, and that's where I'm taking this diagram from, was Nancy Buck. In her looking at the needs that we have, she drew a little graph similar to this. And so the straight up and down was the survival need to keep breathing so that the air can come in and flow out and so forth. But then also in looking as we come into life as a baby and grow and progress, that we have we need to have fun. We also need to have love and belonging. We need to be loved, to be touched. We need to love others and to belong and to be a part of. And that we have a tendency in early life to lean more toward these areas. But as we grow more, then we go in with freedom. We want to be our own person, to make our own decisions, to make our own choices. And then also as we begin to exercise our power and, looking at it from the childhood on up, is that power to say no, which is sometimes one of the first things that kids really learn, is that power I can say no. But that, and then she made the comment as she drew this little diagram, she made the comment of, if it looks somewhat like a tornado, that's just kind of the way life is. Because in all of these needs that we had and wanting them to be met efficiently, are we cooperating with ourselves and with others, or are we competing with ourselves and with others? So here is, I'm just going to allow you to read this on your own, if you would. Does it look like a bunch of garble? Are you able to read it? What's this? According to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that some of the letters are in the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still get the message. And I thought that was just a really good introduction into looking at setting boundaries. Because sometimes, they can look like a really big mess, but as we can still get the message, whether it's the message that we are sharing with someone or whether it's the message we are receiving from someone. So in reinforcing boundaries, it seems as though our whole world is in a state of confusion, and that PhD Meg Blackburn Lucy defines disconnect, that confusion and so forth, as a series of simplicities that have become entangled. And I like to really think about that the difficulties in life is really a series of things that are super simple that have become entangled. Entangled simplicities. Think of jewelry and how sometimes they can even just hanging on a strand, one here and one here, they can become entangled together and get messed up, difficult to take apart and to be used. And yet, separation is an equal part of our disconnect and our confusion problems. The lack of understanding. So here's just an example. A working wife is frustrated and needing some downtime after a hectic workday. And the child-tending house husband fails to honor her request or that request. But the thing of it is he needs a little quiet time himself, and he's hoping that mom will be mom for a while. And then we can also bring in, well, what about the children? They're wanting to see mom, they're wanting to still be with dad. And so it's all of these simplicities that become entangled and begin to cause some really difficult issues. And so I like to think of a little encounter one time at a Special Olympics, and the children were running a race, and the parents and the audience was yelling for all of them to win. It really didn't matter. Just get out there and do your best. And there was a little boy that was ahead of the group, and he turned around and he saw that all of his friends were back there. And he literally turned around and started running toward them. And as the audience was saying, no, turn around, go down to the finish line. And he was saying, let's all win together. Let's all win together. And so as regardless of whether it's in the home or the workforce or the community or wherever, let's all win together. And so let's look at the fact that there's always this need versus need. And it's what I need versus what you need. And they can both be very, very valid. But trouble ensues in any relationship when the prevailing attitude is my need is more important than your need. And that's where we get into the disconnecting habits and really begin to have difficulties. We are needy individuals, and it is okay to have our needs met. And sometimes we need to know that. We need to know that it's okay to have your need met. For efficiency, they must be met in ways that are good for you as well as for others. It's just good for me, that so what about you? Big deal, who cares? Well, it is in the caring, so that we can all get along better. And to value appreciation, because anything that appreciates goes up in value. In 1971, we bought a Chevrolet pickup truck, brand new, it had like 50 miles on it. And we kept it for 43 years. And whenever we released it, we charged and was paid $200 less than what we had paid for it 43 years ago. So anything that appreciates goes up in value. And to appreciate it means just simply that, to appreciate it. Whether that is an individual, whether that is our home, our yard, our job, the more we appreciate having that job, that interconnection, the connection with people, the more we can appreciate them and the more the value will go up. An authentic appreciation of another's role lends itself to understanding and a willingness to negotiate. As we can appreciate the way they saw something, the way they thought about it, as we can appreciate where they are coming from, then it lends itself to our understanding and having a willingness to negotiate. Appreciating your contribution to the situation can in turn give you the confidence to firmly yet kindly set your boundaries of what you do or need or what you do not need. As you, appreciate the others. And the value of reinforcement. Ruth Shannon, a newly certified person with choice theory, did a presentation on making sense of it last week. And she was talking about the fact that she made a list of chores for her children to do. And then she left it up to them to decide which one would do what. And so, that sounds good, that it'll run really well and all that kind of stuff. But we also need to have some interaction too. And so one of the things that Ruth taught her children, because she had learned through choice theory, is that to continually ask yourself, did you do your best? Am I doing my best? Am I conducting myself in this? Am I doing my best? And if we can answer yes to that, then it's probably pretty good. And all of this, it begins to promote internal growth. We're beginning to grow from the inside, which, that breath is there, and we those things that we need to survive, we need the food, and it goes internally, and then it begins to help us to grow mentally, spiritually, emotionally. But it is valuing reinforcement, and then realizing also sometimes that there does need to be a comment made, that maybe things were misunderstood and were not carried out in an order that they were presented. And so it needs to be an occasional, and giving a thanks for what you did and for how much I do appreciate you. And she made the comment that she credited choice theory with giving her children the permission to say, hey, Mom, whenever we do something right, you don't commend us, but whenever we do something wrong, you certainly let us know about it. And I think that's very, very important in that value of reinforcing. But sometimes we need to be a polite nag, not only to others, but also to ourselves. And that sometimes, we'll misunderstand one another. Understanding that sometimes a person has good intentions, yet fails to follow through. I know someone in my life that quite frequently they will say, I just said that. And I thought, oh, I heard it, but I wasn't listening. And it's to realize that how am I part of this problem also? How am I the one that's equally breaking a boundary of hearing but not listening? And whenever we listen, we can hear so much better. If your boundaries are not honored, speak up with a gentle reminder. And change occurs easiest when it becomes the other person's idea. So it's better to ask rather than tell. Have you forgotten that you were to feed the dog every day? So rather than saying you didn't feed the dog, is it time to go ahead and take care of the puppy? And always, always to keep things civil, even if needing to speak up again and again and again. And then graciously accept a slip and an apology. Someone's willing to realize that, hey, I made an error here as well as you. It's also knowing deep down inside that delay is not denial. That perhaps your need to be self-nurturing outweighs your need to interact. That perhaps their need for companionships outweighs their need to respect your space. Kind of think about this. So in those, when it's kind of, head meets head, but head butts against one another, perhaps we need a switcheroo. So we embrace everything with a loving embrace and share a few moments of casual conversation, being genuinely concerned about each other's day, and then slip away for a little solitude so that we can collect ourselves and be recollected. So it's always kind of looking at the bottom line. Well, why look at the bottom line? Because the bottom line covers it all. And the bottom line is, it's my consensus that the most mature one in any relationship will make the most concessions. And sometimes, yeah, but I'm doing that all the time. I'm always giving in. Well, there's a difference in giving in and making a concession. And that the one with the most maturity in any relationship, at the same time, never make those concessions at your expense. Stuffing your irritation and later exploding is unfair to everyone, or taking an anger out on someone else rather than the one that is more deserving of that reconciliation. Make relating more important than being right. How can we relate to this? And then always realize that when sacrifice is for the betterment of all, that sacrifice transcends and it's no longer a sacrifice. That whenever we realize that we're giving something up, yes, and it may go in a loss column, but if it's something that is better for the good of the whole, which we all are a part of the whole. And that's another part of looking at Greek the Week, is that not only are we living in the now, but that we are all a part of the whole. And I thank you very much for being here, and many blessings.